Hey everybody, welcome to Shooting the with Yankee, and as usual, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Tonight's topic is, what's your favorite revolver manufacturer? Which one do you think is best, and why? Why do you think they're the best revolver manufacturer? For those of us that love wheel guns, we pretty much have a favorite. I'm asking, what's your favorite? Now, as far as what my favorite wheel gun is, well, I think most people can tell by looking behind me. It's Smith & Wesson. I think Smith & Wesson is overall the best revolver manufacturer on the market when you take into account price, availability of different models, barrel lengths, calibers, etc. Smith & Wesson just has all the rest of them beat. Now, Ruger's, they do better when it comes to single action. They have more variety of things like that. And they do make some more rugged guns. So they're better in that way than Smith & Wesson. And Colt, they make some more refined guns. They have far better triggers. The reason I carry a Python every day with 6 rounds of 357 instead of a Smith & Wesson with 7 is because that trigger is so refined. And, there's other companies like Kimber. They make probably the best small 6-shot revolver available in the market today, but they don't offer many varieties, and it's just different barrel lengths of that same revolver. Now, they do have double action, single action one, and a double action one, but still their line isn't really fleshed out enough for me to say that they're the best. When you look at things like quality, yes, Smith's not as much of a quality gun as like a Manhurin or a Korth, but it's great quality. And when you take into account it isn't super high prices like those guns, kind of wins. It may not be as rugged as in some ways as some Rugers. They really are, but people don't see it that way. But some people see that the Rugers are more rugged, and Ruger does offer more like big bore, single action, etc. guns. But overall, I think Ruger beats all, or Smith & Wesson beats all of them when it comes to best quality, best availability, good reliability, as good as any of them. And, you don't pay a premium price. You're actually paying just enough more. Well, really nowadays, you're not even paying more over Ruger. Ruger is expensive nowadays as Smith. But I think when you're looking for the best overall revolver manufacturer, if I could only buy from one revolver manufacturer for the rest of my life, it's going to be Smith & Wesson, because I think they bring the best of all worlds. Not the best in any single category, but, it sometimes is better to be second place in everything instead of first place in one thing. And I think that's Smith & Wesson. So like I said, my favorite is Smith & Wesson. So let's see what people over here say. Let's see if anybody weighs in over here. John Heasley chimed in here and said, Smith & Wesson. Mike D said best buy options, quality, value. Well, you'd have to weigh all those things for you to make your own decision on which one you think is best. Aaron Talks Firearms says Smith & Wesson #1, Colt is a close second, and Ruger a solid third. Taurus makes the best cheap revolvers. Well, yeah, pretty much I agree with most of that. Colt to me though is I think makes the overall best gun because it is more refined, it's got a better trigger, etc. But Smith gives you more rounds, gives you more variety, just blah, blah, blah. But Colt is climbing back up into #1. Right now, like I said, if I had to choose just one revolver manufacturer to buy the rest of my life, it would be Smith & Wesson. But Colt is getting really close to taking that place from them. A little more variety, and they would probably take the first place for me. Read my next message. That makes it hard because I can't really follow the live chat, but I'll try. I think I read it already before. He said he likes Ruger and Taurus, and he doesn't like Smith & Wesson because they failed to order one of his warranties on one of his guns. I don't know what the fuck he did to it, but I think that's what he said when he said that. Fisher. 89. Well, that's a weird name. Don't have a lot of experience with revolvers. When's that ever stopped anyone on the internet from talking about something like they're an expert? But from my experience, I prefer Smith & Wesson older ones like my dad's Highway Patrolman or my M1917. Older Smith & Wessons are awesome. I mean, I'm just a big fan of pinned barrels, recessed cylinders. You know, they used to recess all the cylinders on all the revolvers. They used to all be nice. Then they quit doing that. They used to pin the barrels. They quit doing that. They started doing the compression barrels. That's why you hear people say pinned and recessed Smiths, because it's got the pinned barrel, the recessed cylinders. That's when Smith & Wessons were really good. Back then, there was really no competition for them. Colt made good guns and refined guns, but as far as being sturdy, they didn't hold up like Smith. And their guns that did hold up didn't hold a candle to Smith in quality. So that's back in the day when Smith & Wesson was shining, the pinned and recessed. I'm a big fan of those myself. Jack Bauer, Smith & Wesson is best. Lasts forever, most choices of them. Oh, yeah, they do last forever. They last a long time. At least that's been my experiences with them. Some people have had different experiences, obviously. And, you know, the variety. So many different models, so many different barrel lengths, guns that, you know, are so lightweight, they don't feel like you're even carrying a gun, like the PD series guns. Lightweight, 44 Magnum even. I have a 329, the lightest weight 44 you could ever carry. Now, shooting it takes, I think, about a week off your life every time you fire it. But still, I mean, where do you get those anywhere else? Just awesome, awesome variety of firearms from Smith. Took me a long time to warm up the scandium frames and titanium cylinders. I resisted them for years because I don't like change. I'm kind of like a cat. Cats don't like change because they don't have pockets. I don't like change because I'm set in my ways. But yeah, it's just so many different things available from Smith & Wesson. Jacoby said, it may depend on what caliber you want. 327. Well, if certain calibers, you know, they don't really make a lot of in some guns. Like Ruger didn't really make 32 H&R till recently. They just started doing the 32 H&R. They did the 327. And now I'm not an expert on 327 or 32 H&R, but it seems most people prefer the 32 H&R. There's probably people here to tell you why, more so than I could, because I'm not real familiar with the ballistics of both those rounds, because I've only tested the 327. So if you wanted one or the other, you'd have to go to one or the other. But now even Ruger's starting to make the 32 H&R. I saw that the new LCR is coming out in the 32 H&R. The LCRX, I think, even. LCRX even. I don't know why I'm doing Snagglepuss. Dale Rickety, looks like the last one here to chime in. Let's see what he had to say. Smith & Wesson, best affordable, best selection, but the Manhurin is the best because of its track record of endurance. They are sturdy. Some hit 1 million rounds without a hiccup. Court may be more refined and the best. Courts are very refined. If you want like a precision revolver, Court, you can't really go wrong with Court. And some of the new contenders are starting to look very promising. But some of the new custom ones. But here's the thing. Do you always want a Lamborghini? Because is a Lamborghini better than a Chevy? Well, yeah, Lamborghini is. No one is ever going to be able to argue that the Chevy is as precise and capable and, you know, all this other thing as a Lamborghini. But if you would need one you can drive every day, which one's the better option? Well, the Lamborghini is going to be in the shop all the time if you drive it a lot. Because it is more of a precision instrument, and precision instruments get out of whack a little more. And plus, if you can only drive 60 miles an hour to work, does it matter if your car will do 140 or 180? Not really. Does it matter if your car will hold 0.9 Gs or 1.3 Gs? If you're only doing 60 miles an hour to work every day? No, it doesn't really matter. So you're paying for stuff you're never going to really get any advantage from. So that can be a bad thing. You don't want to overpay or pay for things you don't want. And that's kind of like the Court is. When you buying the Smith & Wesson's kind of like buying the Ford or the Chevy. You know, going to work every day. You're paying for what you're getting, etc. With the Court, you're getting a lot of that, you know, law of diminished returns. And yeah, it's the fanciest thing you can get, but do you really get the most out of it? So I would still put Smith & Wesson top shelf. Because of that, as far as my favorite manufacturer. And that looks like that's it for us today. I want to thank everybody who weighed in here with their favorite manufacturer. I was hoping we'd get some Taurus or some Charter Arms people. And you know why they like Taurus and why they like Charter Arms, because I'm sure there's people out there that just love them. I'm not a fan of the Charter Arms. I don't mind Taurus. I'm not a big fan of the Charter Arms. I've owned multiple Taurus, usually like their governors and stuff like that. Their Raging Governor, etc. But I was surprised we didn't get some people that chimed in with Charter Arms and stuff. But, you know, this is your all's favorites, and you told me your favorite. So thanks, everybody, for participating. What's your favorite revolver manufacturer? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to weigh in on other topics that we talk about every night, come to one of our live chats. We hold them every night, 6 p.m. Pacific time, except for Wednesdays when they're at 7 p.m. That might be changing soon because Never Enough Ammo has changed his schedule. So we'll see. But hope to see you in one of our live chats soon so your voice can be heard along with the other people's. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.